Good morning, I'm Stefan Winterboer and this is Safari Live. Ready.
Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good morning, yes, and that is young Sindile, and look at the mist this morning rolling in from wherever it came from last night. We can hardly even see him from where we're sitting at the moment. It is just absolutely thick. Everything is got these light little drips on it, and it's difficult to see what's going on. Everything has this sort of muted softness about it, and I must be honest, it's been a very, very awesome morning so far. We've literally just left the camp and we've come out to Sindile to find him lying underneath the tree where his kill was in yesterday. For those of you just joining the show for the first time, this is a young male leopard whose life we've been following for the last 23 months, and part of the patchwork out here really. And he's killed an impala. He killed an impala a couple of days ago, probably 2 or 3 days ago. Finished it yesterday, but is now just digesting the remnants of that, and seems to be unstressed, unfazed about anything here. There's no hyena here, even though there were hyena tracks coming down the road here this morning. They haven't found him or found the leftover bits and pieces of his kill just yet, and that would have chased this young male off. So he's just really taking it easy, making sure that he doesn't overexert himself or waste any of that important metabolic energy that he's stored up over the last couple of days. My gut feel tells me that he'll either get moving today, probably even this morning. He might go to some water. The closest water to here is Sydney's Dam, which is around about a mile away from here, for a drink, and then who knows where he'll go. There's every chance that he starts to disperse, as young males of his age will do, but he might also stick around. This is where he was born. He was born to a leopard whose territory is adjacent to where we're sitting just now, and he might stick around for another 6 months, who knows. Right now he's in that comfortable phase between being able to look after himself but not being old enough to become a threat to the dominant males of the area, and that's a good place to be in for him, because apart from just the day-to-day trials of trying to find enough food, trying to stay away from marauding hyena and lion, he's actually quite comfy with he's within earshot of his mother, at least anyway. He'll definitely know how to find her in the blink of an eye, as will she know how to find him. But he's got that youth coupled with enough experience to keep himself well fed, as the impala in the tree was testament to. And we have no doubt that this young male named Sindile, the survivor, yeah, he will be fine. There we go, the thumb making an appearance this morning. For those of you who don't know, it is Brent Leo Smith's birthday today. So feel free to send through your birthday wishes to him, along with any questions and comments that you may have, to an email, questions@wildearth.tv, or using the hashtag Safari Live. I'm sure he'll appreciate all your well wishes this morning. And on that note, I think let's link over to the birthday boy himself. Let him say his good mornings.
Hello and welcome to the middle of the African bush on this awesome misty morning. Unfortunately, no gorillas in the mist this morning, but we're hoping to find a leopard or two. And of course, my name is Brent, and thank you in advance for all the birthday wishes. I have Dangerous Dave, who's less than slightly objectified this morning. And I have a very special surprise this morning, because Jamie has given up her last morning on leave to join me on drive on my birthday. So there she is.
Hey, Jamie.
Good morning. Hi, everybody.
There we go. So aren't I a lucky fish? Now, I really love these misty mornings, and I'm hoping to find something spectacular. Of course, I'm not going to say it out loud, but it sounds something like, I kind of think how to do this. How am I going to do this? It sounds something like Mad Hog, and I'm hoping they make an appearance. But what I'm going to do as my birthday treat for you, as I am going to let you decide where I should go. So at the moment I'm sitting in the middle of Djuma, but why don't you guys let me know where I should go? Should I go to Arathusa? Should I go to Cheetah Plains? Should I go east? Should I go west? Should I go north? Should I go south? So let me know where I should go on my birthday, and I'm going to drive around like I'm blind. So you guys choose where I should go, and remember you can do that by sending your emails to questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So very exciting. And you know what? You make your own luck. So I've decided we're going to be lucky today, no matter what we see. Maybe we'll see all my favorite butterflies, the acrias. Maybe we'll see my favorite leopard in Kanyeni. Maybe those mad hogs might make an appearance. So wonderful to have you. And as Dangerous Dave looks very, very, very confused. He actually looks like a gorilla in the mist this morning. So it is a beautiful... I really love these mornings. The cameramen despise them because, of course, it mists up the lens quite quickly. But I think they're absolutely gorgeous. Okay. So Ali says she hates driving in the fog. It's hard to see and there might be a monster. Well, Ali, I'm hoping for a monster mad hog. Jamie thought that was funny. Yes, there we go. I think I can get away with bad puns on my birthday. So thank you again, everyone who's sending in through your happy birthdays. And just remember, you need to let me know where I should go. Until then, I'm going to drive round and round quarantine. Okay, so Aaron in New Zealand says Cheetah Plains, so I'm going to wait till we get 3 Cheetah Plains, and then we're going to head there. We might do a little gander through the south to see if... This says I should go to Buffelshoek and just tell them it's my birthday. So I think I probably could, Liz. But Graham Wallington would probably pull what little hair he has left out of his head if I did that. But Liz, we can pretend we're in Buffelshoek. How's that? Oh, absolutely stunning. Okay, so it seems like we are going to Cheetah Plains. Maybe my dream of 3 days ago. And actually, we figured out why I had a dream about cheetah. So while Jamie was on leave, she was visiting her friend who works up north at Makalali. And they had an incredible cheetah sighting of 2 males grooming and stretching and doing all the things cheetahs do. And then when I went to bed that night, and Jamie sent me a picture, I completely forgot, but I dreamt about it. And I think that's what sent us on the cheetah search a few mornings ago. Now, I am most surprised, but most happy that young Sindile has not gone off on his next wonder. So, while he's still there, and I think possibly being slightly brooding in the mist, let's go across to young Sindile with Stef.
I don't quite know what Brent said there. It was very difficult to hear exactly what was said there. But yes, we have got young Sindile in the mist. I caught that little piece. And isn't that just a wonderful picture that we're seeing at the moment? The mist is still very thick. We're on a crest at the moment. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like in the Mulwati And I think as soon as the sun comes up, we're definitely going to take a drive out there and see what it looks like. Here he's lying on the sand, just super content with life. Eyes closed. That very relaxed posture. That's what we want to see from a leopard out here. Got these soft drips happening all around us from the leaves and the branches onto the sand and the leaf litter. It's just an absolutely phenomenal morning. Everything's muted, quiet and soft. It's a lovely morning. You can see he's not panting as much as he was yesterday. That is because his body would have worked through that impala relatively quickly, I must be honest. Leopard have got pretty high metabolisms. There's what's left of the impala. You can just see a leg, perhaps some meat still there. So I actually thought that it was all finished. I'm going to go and pick up my binoculars quickly and just have a look and see exactly what is left there. Okay, he's still got a little bit of meat actually. Not much, I must be honest. I didn't think that there was actually going to be that much left. His head is now up and he's looking at us. I don't think he... Those ears are just constantly working. And that's because so Liz, you've asked if the mist will give some water to the animals to drink, a little bit more water to the animals. Unfortunately, no. I mean, water will cover some of the vegetation that they eat today, and that may help a little bit. But to be honest, not really that much. This mist is going to do virtually nothing. Things that do benefit from mist are all your smaller creatures, ants and spiders and beetles and millipedes and centipedes and so on and so forth. But with it being still fairly early in the season, there really isn't any chance of any of that sort of stuff making any meaningful difference. It really requires some of that early rain in September, coupled with the sand heating up and reaching the depths to where these animals are incubating at the moment, for them to wake up and for them to start becoming active. And I'm really only expecting insects to start appearing by October, perhaps. Look at that. We're literally about 25 yards from him currently, and that is the mist between us and him. That's how thick it is. Alright, we are being joined by another safari vehicle, so we may see a slight change in his behavior. He hasn't been that comfortable with safari vehicles that we've been noticing. And that is it's an observation that I've made based on me watching what he's doing. And let's see exactly what and how his behavior changes. I don't quite know if it's a positive or a negative thing just yet. There we go. Obviously not too fazed about anything just yet. What we'll look for is any obvious changes in his posture. So far, nothing. No reaction. Ears slightly back, that's listening behind him. Something's making a noise there. Still no change at all. So leopard who have very negative reactions to people will get up and walk away, or change their posture and go onto their feet, onto their paws, basically. Ears tight back and folded down. Let's see what he does here. No reaction whatsoever. So far, so good. And that's a good thing. I was hoping to see this particular type of behavior from him. Let's see exactly what happens here. He's still got some meat, so he's not going to go anywhere. He's busy looking at them. If there's one person that knows anything about leopard, that is Taxon, and that is who's just joined us right now. And that's no behavioral change whatsoever. We might as well have 50 cars around him. No, I'm joking. We'd only ever have 2, and that, if depending on his behavior, we could change that at any time. And no reaction, so all good. So we're going to send you over to Brent. He is driving around on his way to Cheetah Plains, as far as I know, and would like to give you an update.
So, thank you very much for your consideration, and we're on our way to Cheetah Plains. I am taking a slightly long route to get to Cheetah Plains. I think I deserve a visit from the Queen on my birthday. So what we're going to do is we're going to check the southern boundary on our way to Cheetah Plains. We're going to go up Philemon's cut line first, and fingers crossed that before we get to Cheetah Plains, Queen Karula, the young Prince Hasana, and the exquisitely beautiful Shongile decide to grace us with their presence. I really love these misty mornings. Well, a very good morning, and to a name I don't know, so a big welcome to you, Computer Eyes Yackle. This is a very interesting handle you have there, but Computer Eyes Yackle. Wait, so Final Control is saying something else to me. Oh, Computer Eyes in Seattle, so okay, so I apologize for calling you a Yackle. So Computer Eyes in Seattle. Hopefully you're not sleepless. Ooh, I think I can get away with cheesy movie references today. Is wondering, does the fog affect the way cheetahs hunt? It is actually beneficial to them. Now, strangely enough, sound does not carry as well in the fog. Obviously, the little droplets of moisture around actually soak up the sound. So even lions will sound further away when they're roaring in the fog. And it'll actually be beneficial to cheetah. And it'll affect some things like Impala and Stenbock's eyesight. So hopefully we can find some cheetah on the hunt. Computer Eyes in Seattle. So we do apologize if Dave's large, there we go, there it comes. And that is due to the mist. Dave is trying to give you the clearest picture possible. And so therefore in this misty morning, you're going to see quite a bit of Waipiti Wai. So this morning we actually opened up the good coffee because it was my birthday, and it was absolutely excellent. It was all the way from Rwanda from my trip to the grills, and the coffee's name was Gorilla Bourbon, and it has a lovely picture of a gorilla on it, and it's called, that reminds me, a quiz for the morning. Now, I'm sure I've actually done this quiz before, so a few of you will be on it in a matter of seconds. But what? Actually, I'm gonna make it even harder. Haha! I'm gonna be so mean today because it's my birthday and I'm allowed to. So I'm gonna tell you, what country does coffee originate from? So all the coffee in the world comes from one country, and all coffee in the world is actually related. You can tell me what country that is. So if you know what country coffee comes from, and you can let me know by sending me an email, questions@wildearth.tv, or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Hello, William, who is in Oregon, and Oregon is the land of the very tall trees, and I've been to Oregon, believe it or not, and it's absolutely beautiful along that Atlantic coast, and I actually drove all the way from Seattle to LA, drove through Oregon, and William would like to know what is my favorite birthday treat. Is it pastry or pie or whatnot? William, it's terrible. But it begins with a W and it ends in a Y, and it generally comes with the word single in front of it, and generally the best ones are from Scotland. Is my favorite birthday treat, and my favorite birthday treat of all birthday treats comes from the Isle of Skye and comes in a blue box, and it is called, I'm not going to say what it is called, but yes, no, my favorite birthday treat. I'm not a big sweet eater, strangely enough. I do enjoy the odd piece of cake or pastry. And Amanda, who is our chef, bless her soul. So let me tell you what happened last night. So a couple of weeks ago, I promised Amanda, because she cooks for us every day, that I would cook. And one of my specialities is the roasts. And so I forgot about it. Then I realized I was going on leave. And of course, it was my birthday. So last night, with the help of Jamie and Ali, who you guys met on Drive a while ago, I prepped a roast leg of lamb and a roast leg of pork, as well as lots of wonderful vegetables. And I did all the prep, and then Jamie kindly put it into the oven for me while I was out on Drive with you yesterday. And so last night we had everyone around to Inga's house, which is where we live, instead of our normal eating in the DRC. So I did the main with the help of Jamie and Ali, and then Amanda made us the most wonderful dessert. And can you believe, in the middle of the bush, Amanda managed to produce a panna cotta with berry, I think, what's the correct word for it? There we go, Dave, berry compote. And it was, oh, Dave, I didn't know you knew that much. Yeah, sure. Not just a pretty face. So, yes, so Amanda did the dessert, I did the mains, and we had, Jamie ate 3 desserts. And, of course, Jamie can eat many desserts and you would never notice. But so it was very, very lovely. So it was very nice. We had everyone from our crew around. We had some friends from the neighbouring lodges around. So it was a very, very pleasant evening. And we stayed up so late, which means we went to bed at 10 o'clock. So normally we're in bed by about 8:30. So last night we were on the razzle and we went to bed at 10. And of course the person who was having the biggest party was Kirsten from Final Control, and she was on her own mission. She's denying. Marco is getting into the spirit of the day with a very interesting comment. All coffee in the world originates at Starbucks. Now, Marco is, of course, Siberia, for those of you who are on the damn cams, and is one of our Zoomies, and one of our definitely most active Zoomies. And we do appreciate all the Zoomies, and often you guys help us find animals by watching the Juma cam. Now, come on, Queen Karula. Now, one of the really nice things about a misty morning like this, of course, we've got the drought at the moment. So there's actually this slight layer of moisture that's sitting on the road. So if Karula crosses, we're going to have the most wonderful fresh tracks. So I'm going to try find a fresh track, even if it's an Impala, so you can see the difference between an old track and a fresh track. I'm probably going to find an old track first. Although it seems like no animals decided to walk across our southern boundary last night, which is fine, as long as Karula did. Okay, there we go. There's an old track to show you. It's a waterback track. You see it, Dad? And of course, it's so lovely and warm, even in the mist here. It's about 15 degrees Celsius, which is 56 Fahrenheit. Ha! I remembered this morning. Oh, there's actually more than one track here. Interesting. And I can see where the other one comes from. Okay, so there we go. You can see the waterback track, and it's quite a nice track. Or is this one better, Dad?
That is better.
Okay. So it's a nice track. I can see that it's not fresh, but it's from yesterday. So you can see how dark it is on the side. So if I take my finger and run it through the sand, look at the color difference. Isn't that incredible? So there's just a slight layer of moisture sitting on top of the soil, and you can see how dry it is underneath. I mean, look at that. It's white. Now, Dave, the other track I was trying to show you, where's it gone? Oh, I've lost sight of it. Can you get here?
Yep.
Okay. Now, there's tiny little, it's going to be very difficult to see, so I'm going to show you what it looks like with my finger. Like that. So it almost looks like a little triangle. And that is a bushveld gerbil. And that bushveld gerbil lives right here. So you've got his hole here, and you can see his tracks, and you can see all the sand he's pushed out. And remember, there's actually a better bushveld gerbil hole just down the road. And as a lot of you know, I've been at war with squirrels recently who keep eating my snacks. But yesterday, I started facing a war on multiple fronts. So not only are the squirrels after my snacks, now because of the drought, the bushveld gerbils are coming in as well. Now there's a really cool bushveld gerbil hole just up ahead. Oh! I can't believe it. No one has got where coffee comes from yet. We've got Colombia, Brazil, Madagascar, Chile, which is all incorrect. So it is all incorrect. I'm not actually, if I give any hints, it's going to be way too easy, so I'm not going to. I just want to find, it should be on this bank here somewhere, where that bushveld gerbil's hole is, and it's a very active one. It looks like there's at least 2 or 3 gerbils that live in that hole, and they're very busy gerbils. Now, normally one of the telltale signs of a gerbil hole is grass seeds outside, but at the moment there's no grass seeds to eat, so and the gerbils are under as much stress as all the other animals to find food, hence them stealing my biscuits. Somewhere around here, or could have been further back. No, I'm pretty sure it's down here somewhere. That is not the gerbil hole I was looking for, but it is a very active one. Here we go. There it is. And you can see the darker colored soil outside. The gerbil is popped out. Now, normally, as I was saying, one of the telltale signs is there would be grass seeds sitting all there, the ones that are discarded. But I think in this drought, the gerbil is eating even the most untasty of grass seeds. So, it's Maggie and Robin and Lee and a few others have finally got where coffee comes from. Coffee was first, probably not discovered, but first known to the modern world from Ethiopia. Coffee was spread around the world by Arab traders. So in about the 1500s, they actually started moving coffee. So all coffee in South America, and Portugal and Italy. This is all African. And there are two at the moment considered different strains of coffee, but the original coffee that all other coffee comes from is called Abyssinica. So the scientific name is Abyssinica, and of course that is the original word for Ethiopia. And Ethiopia is a fascinating country, one of my very high on my to get to countries. And of course Angie in Ohio is about to go on a medical mission there, and I'm slightly jealous of Angie because she is on her way to Ethiopia. And it is incredible from a cultural, historical, I mean, you've got everything from hominin fossils to the most endangered canid in the world, the Ethiopian wolf, or the simian fox is what's it called, and geladas, the world's rarest bird, the Nichiva nightjar. And I've studied so much in Ethiopia, and I've actually even booked trips to go to Ethiopia, and then I've had to work. So I've actually got a standing deposit on a trip to Ethiopia that I've never been able to take. Now we are really taking our time to get to Cheetah Plains, but as I said, we want to make sure that Karula hasn't decided to come visit us. Now, it's quite strange seeing Stef in a vehicle because that's not his natural habitat. He really likes being on foot and looking for the little things. But fortunately for him, he's managed to find a little thing on his dashboard. Let's go have a look.
Thank you, Brent, and we have indeed. We were asked a question literally just a couple of minutes ago about who benefits, or can animals benefit from the mist? And although large animals don't, small animals do, and this spider on my dashboard is fishing for water. The leg that is pointed up into the air has water condensing on it, little tiny droplets that you can see, and the spider waits for the water to form a drop and then puts it in its mouth. That spider is literally, and I'm not joking to you, probably only 2 millimeters thick. I'm going to see if I can put my finger there for a size comparison. There's my nail on my forefinger. That is how tiny that little spider is. And just fishing for water. That leg stuck straight up in the air there. I don't know what spider that is. Ooh, sorry. That was my head blocking your view. Just have a look at that. Licking the legs, sucking up the moisture now on the dashboard itself. Can you imagine the thirst? That is just so epic. Marianne, all the way from Texas, you have asked if when the sun comes up, we can find you a spider web that has some water droplets on it. Marianne, I'll try. There's a couple of spider webs here, the tropical tent web spiders, that we may be able to find. It's just for the last 3 or 4 weeks or so, I've really been battling to find spiders. I'm actually quite amazed that we've managed to find this little guy on the dashboard, to be honest. That being said, there's a community of velvet spiders that has just emerged above where we park our Land Rovers. We have a light, and it's literally just been built this winter, but where we park the cars under, there's a light that attracts a lot of insects at night time, mainly flies at the moment, to be honest with you. And these spiders are just having a whale of a time catching all the flies that are above our vehicles and get pulled in from the bush sitting on the side of the car. But yes, exactly. I will try and find you a spider web once the sun comes up. I'm expecting the sun to actually emerge through the mist over our shoulders here. You can see it's sort of getting light in this area here. I'm expecting the sun to be this muted tennis ball when it does come up. And young Sindile this young male leopard that we have lying on the floor here, just absolutely unconscious, basically. I'd like to say he's in a bit of a food coma at the moment. He hasn't twitched an ear for the last 2 or 3 minutes. You can just see though, there's never really stopping the movement. Oh, I must be honest with you, I absolutely love looking at this spider. So Beth, you've asked me what we would use to identify this leopard if he didn't have a collar on. Beth, from this particular, so let's start at the beginning. You'd use the impression that you have of size and shape. So large, small, dewlap, no dewlap, any significant scarring, perhaps a limp, a particular kink in the tail, maybe raggedy ears, or some other main diagnostic feature. If that does, if you don't find any of that, you'd have to look for a spot pattern that is recognizable. And one of the most easily recognizable spot patterns lies on the bridge of the nose, just behind the actual nose. Let's see if we can get in a little bit tighter on his head. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. There on, I'm going to see if I can point it out with my finger. Let's see if I can bomb your shot. There we go. It's going to be a bit more. There. You'll notice his nose, and next to his nose, a black line on either side. Those are a series of spots, usually 2 to 4 spots on either side, and you would use the combination of the spots on the left-hand side and the combination of the spots on the right-hand side of his nose, and that is as individual as a fingerprint is. And we'd use that spot pattern on the side of the nose to diagnose, or to I suppose diagnose the name of this particular leopard, or who this is. Isn't that beautiful? You can see those whiskers twitching in the dream. Not really doing too much. I must be honest, the dripping is getting, there's a soft breeze blowing now. The mist is it is swirling around us. Let me come back and have a look at the spider. He's sort of picked up his activities here on the dashboard. This is just amazing. The spider's now licking the moisture off his legs. Oh, excuse me. Coming all the way out from the leopard. Have a look at this little guy. There he is at the point of my finger. He's just finished cleaning his legs. Got that one leg stuck up. That's the one that's collecting the bead of moisture. And he's bringing each of his 8 legs alternatively into his mouth to suck off the fluid that is condensing on what looks to be some fine hairs that's covering his body or her body. Actually, just want to lean over and sorry, I just want to see if I can see what spider this is. I have absolutely no idea. It is so tiny. Amazing. All right. I think Brent is, I don't know where Brent is, to be quite honest with you, but I'm sure that he is very excited about something, as he always is, and you off to him for an update.
So, Steph is correct, but I'm very excited about an impala in the mist, because it's just, I love the mist. Now, for those of you who are taking screenshots, it is really difficult to get good photographs in the mist, as the cameraman will attest. But some of the best photographs, actually one of the best photographs I've ever taken of impala was in the mist. So, imagine you had a camera like mine, and you can do this in your post-edit, is that I would underexpose to almost make it... Oh dear. It helps if I put a memory card in my camera. Where are my spare memory cards? Oh dear, did I forget to bring my memory cards? I was downloading cards last night. Or I think I planned to. I should have a spare card somewhere in my box of tricks. I have spare batteries. I think I have literally everything in my box except a memory card. I even have a lilac-breasted roller feather. Now, oh dear. Well, that means we are iPhone photographing today, and oh, the impala's gone. But as I said, I even have a lilac-breasted roller feather. Look how pretty it is. I think I should put it in my hair.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do that. Let's pop it in the man bun. How's that look? Yeah. There we go. Oh, there's Jamie playing with it. Now, unfortunately, Karula has not come back to visit. Maybe she'll be back on the way back from Cheetah Plains. Now, Blue Butter Frog is wondering who gets to throw the traditional bucket of water on me today. Now, I have preempted this, and this is the first birthday I've actually been here. Last time I was on leave. So I have decided I shall arm myself with a stick, and anyone who comes near me with a bucket of water is liable to be knocked out. And unless they take the time to preheat the water. But if anyone throws cold water on me, it'll be to their detriment. Fortunately, I think a few people are quite scared of me because I've told them if they throw water on me, I will hit them with a stick. And I even... Where's my... Oh, I took my stick out of the car yesterday. Oh dear, I'm unarmed. Don't worry, we'll find another stick. Fortunately, for me, I'm very aware, so I will have my periphery vision working very well. And also, as we know, I'm the fastest runner in the whole of the Safari Live team. So if they come with a bucket, I will extend my long legs and dash to safety. I might even take a leaf out of Karula the Leopard's book and jump up a tree. And of course, I'm also the best tree climber. James might debate that, but I won the gold medal. Although I must admit it was a little bit unfair in the tree climbing competition. Height did wonders. But we're about to dip into the Mulwanini, and you can see how thick the mist is. I cannot even see 100 meters in front of me. So it is also a place where the gremlins live. So while we go through a gremlin-inhabited hollow, Stef has left Sindile, and he's on the move. I wonder where he's going.
We are indeed on the move and deeper into the mist, as you can see around us at the moment. It's thick and it's almost like being in the rain. I must be honest, it's condensing on the top of my forehead and running down into my eyes and on the camera. It's crazy. It's pretty mean. It actually feels like you're driving through rain. It almost does exactly that. I'm going to show you. Oh, brakes. Oh, oh. So Jason, you wanted to know which predator has an advantage in the mist. And while we go on to this spider web, which Marianne wanted to see, and you asked which has more advantage, prey or predator. I'd have to say that the predator probably has more advantage. But then again, prey, it's easier for them to hide, but I would say that the predator definitely has more advantage. And there you've got that spider web, all for you. And Marianne, you really just wanted to see the spider web with the mist on it. There's a tropical tent web spider and the mist and water catching on those droplets. Just for you. Hope you enjoyed that, Marianne. Let's carry on going. We'll see if we can find you a bigger one. It's just a little spider web with water. So yeah, I think that the predator, Jason, would have more advantage simply because the mist would extend basically the concealment factor of the evening that they have and make hunting this morning a little bit easier. But it does benefit both. I mean, if I'm thinking about it now, there's less, everything's more muffled. So from a sound point of view, things are a little bit more muffled. From a concealment point of view, animals have as much benefit from this as anything else, really. So I suppose it's a bit of an even Stevens thing. Yeah, I would say that they pretty much equal one another. Have a look at quarantine here. You can hardly even see the trees. There's normally a bank of big marula trees. You can just see their ghostly forms there in the background. Thick, thick mist. Temperature is probably about 55 degrees Fahrenheit at the moment, around about 55 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit at the moment. So it's a bit of a nip in the air while we're driving, but it's not that cold. Sun has for sure risen by now, but I can't even see a ball of it at all. That needs to still rise up, and once it does, it'll begin to and start to shine more directly on the surface. It'll push this mist up, so mist lifts from the bottom up for the simple fact that the sun gives off shortwave radiation that is absorbed by the earth and then is radiated out as long-wave radiation, and that will start to dispel the mist. So mist will inevitably blow off and blow away as long as the sun is out and as long as there isn't any big clouds or thick clouds associated with whatever weather system is coming in right now. Mist forms, basically mist is a cloud that forms on the ground. So you have what's called dew point temperature, the temperature at which water condenses out of the air into droplets like we have at the moment. Usually that happens some meters or some yards or to some degree to some kilometers or miles above the Earth's surface. And this particular day, the dew point temperature, the temperature at which water condenses out of the air, happened close to the ground, on the ground. And so we have a cloud developing on the ground. So basically what we're driving through now, mist, is essentially just a cloud, a big billowy cloud just attached to the ground. And I must be honest, it lends a surreal, ghostly atmosphere to the earth. Ah, there we go. There's the sun. You can just see it. Might blow away there in front of us. There you go. The cloud dispelling or dispersing the air completely. Sally, you've just said that this makes you think of Jurassic Park. I suppose you're not too far wrong. I mean, who'd want... You could have an elephant, I suppose, as big as a Tyrannosaurus. Let's have a look at that sun there. You can just see it starting to get or gain in intensity. good time to actually observe the sun. There you can actually see the disk of the sun, the actual round portion of the sun. That is about as close to seeing, without any filters on, of course, or without any special lenses over your eyes, but that's about as close as what we can see the sun. Still bad to look at with your naked eye, so I'm also looking at it through the screen, similar to you. Quite difficult to see there as this mist billows around and billows in. While we're looking at that, I just want to have a chat to Herbie quickly on the radio. Herbert, come in for Steph. Is the best approach still Mvula Road? Copy that. I'll be with you in 2 minutes. All right. Herbie, true to form, has managed to find something for us in the mist. How he does it, I don't really know, to be quite honest. I think he's part mystic himself. Let us, going to pick up the speed slightly, which of course is going to have two effects. It's going to be bouncy a little bit, and you're going to have Brian's hand come in front of the screen from time to time just to wipe the moisture off the lens. So don't be alarmed if all of a sudden your screen goes black and then has these funny colors. That is just... There you go, that was part of that, dabbing at the lens. Unfortunately, I don't think Brian has enough toilet paper or enough space in his cloth to wipe my forehead clean, so it's just going to have to drip and run down my shirt. All right, let's go across the dam wall. Here's a, I don't know if you noticed that little bird that flew over there, but that was a parrot that flew out of the bush. Have a look at that. That is Voyatella Dam. You can hardly even see into it. That is looking at the camp. Just nothing there. All right, a bump and a bit of a jerk up here. All right, let's go inside there. So Michael, good morning Michael, you've just asked me if we get black widow spiders here in South Africa. We absolutely do, and they are similar to other we call them black widow spiders. In other parts of the world they call them recluses, but they're all part of the genus Lactrodectus, and we absolutely find them here, and they are one of South Africa's most venomous spiders. We have 4 spiders in South Africa of medical importance, and what that means, it means that they bite you, it's sore, and you can die if you are elderly or young. I almost drove over that cub, to be quite honest with you, and it was because there's a hippo right here as well. We've got lion cubs in front of us busy hunting a hippopotamus. I don't quite know where I want to place the car here. So here we have that hippo that's been sitting in the Voyatella pan, and it's being stalked by some lions. Only not stalked like we would think it being stalked by adult lions, it's being stalked by the cubs of the Nkuhumas. This is insane. Yeah, I'm in the sighting, thank you very much, Herbert. Stations, we have portions of the Nkuhuma Pride mobile in a southerly direction towards Voyatella Dam. Best approach is on Vubu, 1 station in this position. Excuse me for doing some admin there, folks, while Herbie just hands over the sighting to me. But isn't this the most bizarre thing, where we've got this hippo? I don't know what this hippo is going to do. To be honest with you, it's quite a dangerous place for these cubs to be. Let's see if this lioness moving through here elicits any sort of charge from this hippo. Between the cubs and the hippo at the moment, I hope that we're not in too much danger here from this hippo. This hippo is enormous. We're looking at several thousand pounds of animal here, quite capable of chopping a lion in half. And let's see, this lioness is going to look up now and see this hippo. She hasn't even seen this hippopotamus. That is crazy. Hello, girl. Literally feet away from Brian, who's leaning away from this lion as we speak. That is crazy. This hippo they didn't even see. Have a look at this hippo standing right here. Eyes wide open, literally just standing dead still. What a mad sighting. Why this hippo didn't do anything beyond me. It literally, I think, is just standing here just waiting for the lions to pass in the hope that the lions don't see him, and that is exactly what's happened. These lions have moved past. The cubs saw the hippo. They were stalking him, having a bit of a game. He stopped. Adult lioness walked straight past him, didn't even see him, and is now behind the car walking down the road. Mad. All right, I think we're going to stick with the lions, of course, but just in parting, Mr. Hippo, I hope, well, I don't know what you're going to do with your day, where you're on your way to, but have a good day. Crazy. Hey, Brian, you ever seen anything like that? Brian says no. We have to absolutely thank Herbert for this particular sighting, especially the rarity of seeing lion cubs play hunting at a fully grown adult male hippo. Like I said, I'm at a loss for words. I've got this radio going crazy. If you'd excuse me while I just have to put the volume up over here. This is obviously a sighting that people would like to join. And as much as what I want to switch it off, I'm unable to. You can see that little cub just running in front of his mom. They're now moving away from Gallagher Pan. They've been at this pan for, I don't know, probably the better part of a week. And although they've killed one or two things, Herbert definitely found the remains of a kill, and he also found the tracks of where they grabbed a buffalo, but the buffalo got away. And I think they're going to be moving pans. I think these mothers are hungry. They got no males in attendance with them, so that male that was with these females has moved on. I think for them, probably thankfully. Let's see where they go for the day. They are moving deeper into Little Gowrie, and let's go here. These cubs are playing on the branch here. Let's see if we can get a visual of that. Look at that. Lion in a tree. It's just mom just having a head rub with a little cub. He's going to fly out of this tree. Unfortunately, with not as much grace as he should. Let's see what happens. Well, tail, bit of a balance. Actually, he's not doing too bad. Mother's making these soft contact calls all the time. Just reassuring the cubs of where they are all the time. Let's see what happens over here. She looks like she's going to have another game with him in the tree. Oh, hello. You can see the social nature of these lions, which is so atypical of any of the cats in the world. That these large predatory cats have evolved to be cooperative hunters, living in these families, very good mothers, very good protectors of their babies and are basically the custodians of the lion gene pool here. You know, they are responsible, mother lions are responsible solely for lions proliferating, for lions being lions, really. So we have 3 adult lioness here, a formidable force. Let's see. What they've done is these cubs have actually gone off playing somewhere. And I think what's happened here is that they've lost visual of their cubs, which is creating this confusion. Let's go up here and see if we can't share this moment. Cubs discovering the mist for themselves. Oh, there they are. They've gone running away, a play game with one another. Can you see them there, Brian? So these cubs have actually, in a game, disappeared. And they've run off, which is creating a little bit of tension for their moms, because they are now at that uncomfortable distance away from the mothers. I think what's happening is they're feeling pretty safe in the mist there. And they've let their game of chase get away with them. And now the moms have gone back to go and fetch them, taking the rest of the cubs, the ones that are a little bit shy of demeanor. Have a look at those cubs just having a ball there. Mark, you 100% correct there. It is exactly like a human mom trying to round up the rowdy kids every which way. And I think the frustration that these females are feeling is almost palpable, I must be honest. So now what's happened is the mothers have had to change the direction that they were walking in, absolutely. All right. Let me just go this way. All right, so we're quickly going to change the direction of our travel here. We're going to try and see if we can get over the dam wall and in front of where these cubs are moving to. So if you just excuse the back of my head for a second or two. This isn't the first time I've considered asking Brian to paint a face on the back of my head to keep you company while I drive around. Have a look at this. So for those of you who have access to the Djuma Dam Cam, you might be able to see these cubs through the mist. Not every day that we are this high above a lioness. There she goes. They've now rounded up the cubs and will probably come once the game is finished, of course. Have a look at these little ones just chasing each other around everywhere. So now one has caught the other one and is now choking it, as lions do. Moms are just calling them the whole time. Cubs are not wanting to listen. They're just wanting to play. These moms look hungry. They're definitely, I mean, they're not starving, to be honest. A starving lion looks starving. Have a look at this. It's just we don't really even know where to point the camera anymore. There's just action everywhere. Anne from Durban in South Africa. Good morning, Anne. You've asked how do they know all their cubs are here? Can lions count? Anne, sorry. I think that there's a very good chance that lions know exactly how many cubs they've got and where their cubs are. have a look at this lioness literally lying at our back tire. Excuse me. If I'm giving Brian probably... There's a lion coming up here next to us. A little cub has just managed to, in lion terms, probably scale a small mountain. And we've got these little cubs playing right here at our feet. They're all going to come up the road. There's a mother coming up, another one coming up. So to finish the answer to your question there, they similar to one just latching on, similar to how, you know, we know how many babies we got. These lionesses know exactly how many cubs they've got and where they are. Cubs can get lost, absolutely. Have a look at them chasing each other down the road there. That is just crazy. There's just lions everywhere. Got a lioness lying right next to us, literally. A cub is littered everywhere. This one looks a bit skinnier than everyone else. You can see these others are just... This little cub that's going to come running up now, he is just milk-fed. Right at our car. You literally couldn't get closer if this lioness was sitting on top of Brian. So Brian, no sudden movements if you don't mind. Brian absolutely knows what to do where he is at the moment, surrounded by lion. It is a little bit disconcerting being surrounded by these great cats. I must be honest with you, there's nothing that stops them from jumping in here. And especially if a mother decides that we're all of a sudden a threat to her babies. So we're not going to be starting the car. We're also not going to be making any sudden movement. And although I'm constantly talking, that doesn't seem to be bothering this lioness at all. You can see her ears are not pricked towards me whatsoever. She's listening intently to the bush around her rather than to me. I've heard something in the mist and the darkness. They've managed to get these cubs now up onto the bank, but I must be honest, I don't think they have control of these cubs at all. Let's see what these lionesses do. Here comes a cub running down the road at us. Hello there. What are you going to do? Are you going to walk past us? Behind us? Isn't this great? Oh, have a look at this. Okay, sit still, Brian. You've got a lion behind you. Brian, lost in the moment, is shifting on the car.
I'm still very aware of it, don't you worry.
Got this lioness eyeballing him. Okay, she's moving, but she's okay. She's going to come out on your left-hand side now. There you go. Got this lioness literally underneath our bottoms here. Oh. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right, let's this last cub just come through here. His mother's getting them going. She wants to pick him up and move him past the car. He's reluctant to come past. There's obviously not too much space. Oh. I tell you, that is enough to give you the hair standing up on your back of your neck. I think we are probably going to have to make some space for this youngster, but I don't quite know where we're going to go. So I think what I want to do, Brian, is there a lion behind you? Okay, I'm going to make some space for this cub, only because I think he's going to be left behind, and I just want him to not have to walk off the edge of this dam wall. Shame, and then he's gone and walked off the dam wall anyway. All right, these mothers have finally got all their cubs under control and are now moving back in their original direction that they were walking in the first place. while we get in front of them a little bit, I just want to update everybody on the radio. Our station's 3 Lioness and Nkuhumas Cubs are mobile on the Gowrie Cut line in a southerly direction at the moment. One station in this position. All right, so while we're waiting for these lions to come out of this particular depression and while we get into a new place, I'm sure Brent wants to say hello and give an update. I'm just trying to shake this lion out of my mind, but see you in a bit.
So we're in the center of cheetah plains at the moment. We're about to arrive at 3 in a row pan. And this morning, literally, the animals have to step out in front of us because we can't. Oh, yes, elephants! I've been really hoping for elephants in the mist, and they're on their way to drink. Oh, they're with the sun. Look at that. Look at that. Hello, Ellies. So they're marching towards the water at 3 in a row pan. So I'm going to try and shoot up ahead of them. Although they might cut me off by the looks of things. Hi, Ellies. Hi, guys. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to cut you off. There we go. So I wasn't quick enough. I'm going to let them go past so I don't disturb them. What a wonderful breeding herd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 elephants. It's a very big. There's some very big cows. One in particular. Now that one, she's very tall for a female. Some of them love 3 in a row pan. Oh, look at this. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Look at that. All the bums in a row. I mean, they're almost disappearing and they are not even 100 meters from me. Okay, they've got to the water. What Chris said, oh, listen to that. Elephants in the mist is so enchanting. That I agree. Okay, let's go catch up with them. Oh, wait. Oh, my goodness. More on their way. That is just too magical. Yes, yes. You're very scary. Hello. Isn't that just absolutely gorgeous? The sun trying to push through the mist and wonderful herd of ellies going through. Wow. So I don't know if there's much water left in 3 in a row pan. We're about to find out. But judging from the elephant behavior, it doesn't look like it. There's mud, so we could get some splishing and splashing in the mud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the western side of a 3 in a row pan so we can keep that sun peeking through the mist and the elephants to the east of us. Hi, Elise. There we go. Look at that. Ali says, so many birthday elephants. Oh, man, this is beautiful. Listen to the sound of them drinking. Hello, madam. It's okay. That's incredible. There's some moments where words are not needed, and I feel this is one of them, so I'm going to shut up. Sorry about that. Isn't this just incredible? Sherry, you are spot on correct. Magical moments with the Ellies. Now, they're about to disappear. And they're going to move and just literally disappear into the mist. Blue Butterfrog says, it's amazing how quietly they walk. It is. They can be the quietest and noisiest animals at the same time. And there we go. The last female. And they're just literally going to melt into the mist. Now, as the elephants melt into the mist, Stef's got some big cats frolicking in the mist.
We have got these Nkuhumas now crossing the bridge here in front of us. Isn't that just wonderful? You're welcome to. I am live, so please just make your way into the sighting. We're on Central, crossing the drainage line. They're taking their time walking today, and I think these lioness are hungry, to be honest with you. You can hear them listening. I don't want to disturb a hunt that may be taking place. These lioness are walking, they are listening intently, and that to me tells me, although they have their cubs in attendance with them, they are still hunting, using the mist as cover. Go forward a little bit. How I like following lions is I look at their ears, and if the lioness listens to me rather than listening to the bush, I know that I'm getting too close. Ooh, I suppose. Ow! Squeaking off these brakes, not making it easy for them. Michael, you're absolutely right. Look like toddlers that have had too much sugar and they're all over the place. I totally agree with you, Michael. They're just this uncontrollable rabble. As they get a little bit older, of course, they'll become a bit more focused, and their games of catch and play that they're doing with themselves, or cats and mouse that they do, will turn into more serious observations of their mothers. See if I can go forward without squeaking too much. Ow, 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 ow. Sorry. Chitwa in India, you want to know how long it takes the cubs to start roaring. They can actually roar even now, although it doesn't sound like a roar, it sounds more like a long meow. But if this pride had to do a communal roar, which is very likely in the event of another pride encroaching on their area, they will all roar together, and it does sound pretty weird. Even at this young age, that roaring reflex will be prevalent. Let's go forward a little bit. I think they're actually going into this thick stuff here. We're going to lose visual in the next couple of minutes if they carry on in this direction that they're walking in. And it just affords us the chance to watch them for a few more minutes. They might actually lie up here for the day. The sun is now coming out, which means that they've lost the advantage of darkness for hunting. I'm not sure why they moved from where they were at Gallagher Pan. My gut feel tells me that hunting has been poor around the pan, and and it's, I think, simply because of that male that was just pestering. These ladies haven't been able to hunt effectively for some time now. And I think what's happening is they've been forced to move to catch something, and that's exactly what they're doing. Just quickly going to update the radio. The station Z in Nkuhumas are now mobile in a northerly direction in the drainage line off of Central. The best approach now would be the big Jackalberry on Gowrie Cut line, accessing the drainage line from there. You should get them visual from the Jackalberry. So I'm just busy updating. There's another vehicle that's coming to have a look at these lion, and I'm just keeping them fully updated of, because this little cub doesn't want to jump off this bridge. He's just going to get a helping hand from his brother. Push him over. Boom. That's how you do it. There you go. Jump. Boom. Cute. That was very nice. Hey, following the brother there onto the game path. Let's see if he takes that path. I think it's exactly, that is just adoration, sibling adoration at its best. Don't want to be left behind. Where are you going? There I am. Don't leave me behind. Watch this little cub will just start to call now and run, making... Come on, up you go. It doesn't want to be left behind. And there they walk off into the mist. We're going to try and go around and see if we can access this particular drainage line for one more point. There are two other vehicles that are coming through, and I'd ideally love for them to be able to see the sighting as well. So while they're walking away from us, and that I think will probably be one of the last times that we get to see these particular cubs today, I will try again in a few minutes. But while we're getting into position and helping these other vehicles come into the sighting, we're going to put you over to Brent and Cheetah Plains.
Weren't those elephants incredible? Now we've got some horses wearing their pajamas in the mist. Not being very photogenic, they're disappearing. Look at that. I must say, I am absolutely loving this morning. Those elephants were incredible. They've put me in a state of euphoria. And as much as I like talking, and I like talking a lot, it was one of those moments where there were no words needed. Okay, donkeys, we're going to leave you. Now, can our luck hold? I wouldn't say no to more elephants in the mist, and I did hear some elephants screaming out towards the other pan, but I'm really hoping for everything in the mist. Zebra, I think I'm going to see if we can find gnomness in the mist, and hopefully we'll find those cheetah. Now, actually, let's wait till we get out to the big open areas. Hello, Sandra, who's in California. Sandra says, do you often hear elephants roar? And why do they roar? Well, I think I'd describe it more as a scream, generally, but it does actually sound like a roar. And it is one of the things we probably hear the most. Through the night, through the day. A lot of it is altercations between the herd. And elephants have such amazing vocals, and a huge array of vocals, from trumpeting to screaming to roaring to rumbling. Now, that low rumble we heard in that elephant sighting, that is the elephants communicating with each other. Now, a lot of their communications are at such a low decibel we can't hear them. And those communications can be heard for up to 10 kilometers. what's that in miles? About 5-6 miles. And I think it's just amazing. I'd love to know what they're saying to each other. There's that silly man with the ponytail again. But yes, he's always around when we're trying to have a drink, when we're trying to go to the loo. There's the man with the ponytail. And I thought it was going to burn off, but it's getting thicker as we head towards the open areas. So we've actually, we can't show you because the camera doesn't go straight up, but above us is blue sky. And we are heading straight towards the east, towards the rising sun. Well, it's a very, very well-risen sun already, but it is fighting to burn off this incredible mist. Everything's better in the mist. Impala, steenbok, zebra, elephants. And I can't wait to get home and see the screenshots you guys are getting with Stef and the lions in the mist. One of my favorite lion sightings since I've been at Safari Live, which was with a pride we don't see often, which is the Mungen pride. And that was on Arathusa airstrip in a misty morning like this, with a man we miss dearly, but he's very happy in what he's doing, Andrew Francis. So we happened to have, and there were about, I think there were 16 lions at the time in the pride, and literally on that open area of Arathusa airstrip, there were just lions in the mist all around us. I think I might have a photo too. I'll have a look and see if I've got a photo from that morning that we can show you a little later. And of course, every time we were off air, like a good cameraman, grumbling about how the mist was misting up his lens. Okay, so we're about to arrive at Cheetah Plains Pan. There is some water, I think. I can't really see just yet. There is some water. Now, because of the mist, I have to take a moment to check carefully that there's nothing striding out of the mist in front of us on the open area. And while we do that, Anna in Atlanta, I think I've heard it correctly, is wondering, are there any types of piranha here? No, unfortunately not. Our main fish species in this area is a catfish, and that's because it can breathe air, and they actually will, when a pan like this dries up, they'll actually walk, not really, they'll slither, up to 4 or 5 kilometers between different...
No, that's incredible.
Oh, James, I thought David seen something, he's like, wow. So they can actually walk up to about 5 kilometers, and they are very evolutionary, very interesting, because they've almost got the development of legs and arms in their fins. So a very, very interesting species. So they can breathe air, and they can move between drying water holes and other water holes. They can also encase themselves in mud. But piranhas are endemic to South America. There's a couple of different species, and on my bucket list to catch one day, even though they don't get very big. Now, of course, with all the horror movies and everything, everyone thinks you put your toe in the water and the piranha will feast on you till there is nothing left. That is, of course, not true. I have actually many friends who've dived with piranhas and snorkeled with them in the Pantanal in Brazil. And you literally have to have an open wound, and even something of our size, if we have an open wound, the likelihood of a piranha feasting on us is very, very slim. Their mouths are very small as well. I mean, they can only open their mouth probably less than an inch. They've got, of course, those razor-sharp teeth, but they are, like a lot of animals that are portrayed in movies, not nearly as savage as we would like them to be, including something like a great white shark. A girl I went to university with, her dad was the first guy to start free diving with great white sharks, and there's some incredible photos. I think if you look online, you can find them, of him holding his hand on a great white shark's nose free diving, so no cage, no steel armor around him. And I think a lot of our fear that comes through in movies is from I think it's not so much the fear of the animals, but the fear of the unknown. We don't understand. And that's why we often get a lot of questions. Why aren't the animals attacking you and whatnot? And I think it's that fear of the unknown, the fear of not understanding. And we're incredibly lucky. I mean, I've been with elephants since I can remember, since I was 2 years old. So I have a great love. I have a great respect. But I'm not scared of them. But it's understanding the animals. And when you understand something, I think you lose the fear of it. So we are now heading towards the northern boundary of Cheetah Plains. So yesterday morning, or it could have been the morning before, there were male leopard tracks of a very firm favourite of all of ours, Mr. Q, coming from Torchwood into Nkoro, heading south. So no one's checked down here yet, so I'm hoping he might have crossed, and if he hasn't, I'm really hoping we get to see my favourite female leopard in Kanyeni, or those cheetah boys. Well, I think the mist is playing a bit of havoc with our comms, and I know I've got a comment from Aaron, who says, Brent would be so happy, but it cuts out every time when they tell me what I'm supposed to be happy about. Kunyuma! Yes, Aaron, I would be ecstatic. I think I'd actually climb to the bonnet and do a jig if we found Kunyuma this morning. As much as I love old lion tracks going into Nkoro. But the sticks are on a buffalo kill in Nkoro. But so, Aaron, yes, I would be absolutely ecstatic if I saw Kunyuma. He's definitely my favorite male leopard since I've been here. And I've been quite lucky. We worked it out the other day. I think I've seen 24 different individual leopards in a year and a half, which is incredible. In 4,000 acres, more or less, I've seen 24 different leopards. Oh, what do we have in the road? One for the birders. Quite a common... Oh, no, it's not quite a common one. That is actually a really cool one. Now, the race or version of these birds we get here is quite different from the one it's named after. And it's quite a difficult one. Oh, off it goes. So I'm going to say, who can tell me what bird that was? Remember, a little white patch on the shoulder. Very good diagnostic. But it is the hint is that its name doesn't really comprehend what they look like here. So if you know the name of that bird, you can send me an email to questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So we're going to head towards the southern section of Cheetah Plains if we don't get any tracks here. And I actually got completely surprised, and I think I'm quite savvy and don't get surprised very often. But Jamie managed to sneak 2 presents onto the vehicle. So we'll wait till we get down to the southern. And would you guys like to join me in opening my birthday presents from the wonderful Jamie Patterson? I actually think I might put her in front of camera for that. The grand opening. She tried to sneakily give them to me off air. So I thought, no, you're not going to get away with it that easily. Okay, so we're going to keep checking down the northern boundary of Cheetah Plains. Hopefully there's something fantastic that's going to stride out of the mist. Of course, it's not going to be a gorilla, but we can hope for lots of other things. While we do that, Stef has made his way into what is left of the Buffelshoek waterhole.
We are absolutely at the Buffelshoek waterhole, and we do have something that's going to appear out of the mist for you. Absolutely. Have a look at this. Underneath the torchwood tree, we have a male leopard. Isn't that just fantastic? He's obviously enjoying the mist, lying in the sun, underneath the torchwood tree that is so often shared sightings here at Buffelshoek Dam with us. Isn't just this been the most amazing morning for cats? Juma just producing, it's a gift that is just keep on giving here today, with Sindile starting off as Sindile, and then those wonderful Nkuhumas Cubs and their mothers, and now a male leopard, which to me looks like Tingana, but then again, I'm not the best at identifying these cats, to be honest. But with these raggedy ears, it could possibly even be a Mvula, which we haven't seen for some time. He's been missing in action, and as far as I know, mating with another leopard north of here. And it could be him just lying in the sun, enjoying the solitude. That is just fantastic. Still not looking his usual good self. I must be honest with you. Have a look at that hip bone that he's got sticking out there. This is a skinny cat. Expected though, he's not a youngster anymore, and leopard do lose some condition as they get a little bit older. That being said though, he's not in terrible condition. This guy is obviously still able to dominate a female enough, or dominate an area enough that a female warrants being mated with by him. Looks like he's damaged his claw as well there. Hey boy, what's happening to you? You've been in the wars a little bit. It's not uncommon for them to damage claws, even lose claws, in the Malay that is hunting, or being a solitary hunter, hunting the size prey that they do hunt. He'll be fully capable of taking down an adult kudu of 400 pounds. Yeah, that is definitely Mvula. I can just see his face. Excuse me for 1 second while I just update everybody on the radio here. Light stations, there's one male leopard at Buffelshoek Dam. 2 vehicles in this particular sighting. Taxon, you're welcome to make your way in if you like. There's a space open for you. That beautiful green-eyed stare. If you think back a couple of minutes to those lions that we were just with, they have a topaz, or a yellowy eye. I don't quite know exactly how to explain. I mean, I've read that they call them topazy. Whereas leopard, for me, always have a bluey green eye. All right, I think Brent's got one of these birds that keep on flitting away. Go through there quickly, and it'll allow me some time to get the radio working.
Look at this. It's this tree there. And there. Oh, there he goes. Where'd he go? Oh, now he's gone to the tree Dave was originally in. This is the first paradise flycatcher I've seen. So, oh, he's moving. Let's move. Now, isn't that incredible? That's amazing. It's a male. He's got that incredible long tail to impress all the ladies. Oh, no, don't fly away. He's a bit far away, but we'll try. Okay, so zoom, Dave, to the right, in that leadwood, middle, up, a little bit to the left. There he is. There he is. Look at that beautiful long tail. Now, that long tail is all about the ladies. So outside of breeding season, he doesn't have that. And now these birds have migrated down from Central Africa to come join us for our summer. So this warm weather has brought us some incredible birds. And that's the first. So we've had the first warbirds. Now we've got the first paradise. And I wonder who's going to see the first European roller. And the woodlands, I still think because of the drought, they're going to be a bit late this year. Now, Dave and I are on a very special place to us. In this particular little corner of Cheetah Plains, I was fiddling around and driving, and I suddenly got Dave say, "What the beep is that?" And of course it was a pangolin. And when I tried to explain that to Rebecca, who was in final control, Jamie was on the other vehicle, she said, to Jamie, link Brent armadillo. And Jamie couldn't really hear, and we don't get any armadillos in Africa. So I think she thought I had an armor-plated lizard, not a pangolin. But yes, so that pangolin was actually right here on this very spot, scuttling across into the Kruger National Park. Now, to be on the Kruger National Park boundary. We equaled a Safari Live record here the other morning when we saw 7 giraffe together. We need to find 8. But there are no tracks on the Kruger, and I think Mr. Quarantine has not come down from Nkoro. That's not a bad thing, because it means the Nkanyeni is on the southern boundary. Says, was it a wax bill? It was not. It's actually slightly bigger than the wax bills. And I'll give her even a bigger hint, because I know it's misty, it's early, so the word yellow is in its name. Ah, that's a big hint. I mean, the word yellow is in its name. But while we keep checking around at cheetah plans, let's go back to Stef, who I believe has got the old man, the old bullet who's made an appearance on Tuba.
All right, you catch me. Sorry, I'm busy listening to the radio, trying to do 2 things at once, which for me is virtually impossible. So we are looking at Mvula. I think I'm pretty confident that that is exactly what we are looking at. And now that we are a little bit, yes, thank you very much for helping me with the identification of this particular leopard, all of you that have confirmed that it's Mvula. I need all the help that I can get with these particular things, you know. Just have a look at the sun has now broken through these mist banks that are lying above us, and it's just affording us the most unbelievable sighting of him. That is just superb. You know, those footprints that you can see there, that back foot in particular is something that we have been tracking. I'm intimately familiar with Mvula's footprint. He obviously registers, which means that the footprint that we follow is that one that you're having a look at. Those 2, those are the ones that we see in the sand and so often battle to find. Mvula, like his counterpart Tingana, they walk the most unbelievable distances. I fondly remember a memory with Scott where we tracked him from way off on the other side of Djuma, literally through Djuma in 4 hours. And he stopped to hunt a leguan, which is a big monitor lizard. He hunted a little steenbok and inhaled that along the way. And literally between game drives, he walked from one end to the other, probably in a total of about 6 or 7 miles zigzagging through the bush, and disappeared 4 minutes before we went live. As is so often the case. Just have a look at that vista. Katie, all the way from the UK this morning. Good morning, firstly. And secondly, you've asked, with a leopard sleeping on the ground, does this mean he's comfortable? Does this mean that there's lion around, or he's just feeling at ease? Katie, to be honest, leopard cornered in a tree, although they can climb slightly higher than what lion can, it's actually more dangerous for them to be in trees than on the ground. On the ground, leopard are vulnerable to other leopard. They are vulnerable to hyena, and they're vulnerable to lion. But generally only hyena and lion when they have a kill around. And then those predators are usually focused on the kill and will come and chase him off and then devour whatever he has. Other leopard, Mvula's at that particular point where he will want to defend his territory and his rights over territory against any interlopers. And And in a year or two, we'll probably be at the point where he won't be able to defend that and will lose it. And at that point, he does stand the risk of being injured in a confrontation, mortally injured in a confrontation, which is usually the demise of a leopard. Injury of some sort to be finished off by hyena or, in most cases, just another predator. They live hard lives, these animals out here, I must be honest with you. They're born hard. Their first year of life is incredibly rough. And then going into adolescence, and that solitary nature that they need to then cement in a territory, defend, and then eventually be out-competed by it. It's never an easy thing. But just to conclude that particular point, he's actually at the safest where he is right now. He has a 360 view around him, and he's got many escape routes from where he is. Shamsung, you've just asked me, is that mange on his face or just old age balding? Shamsung, you know, being bald myself, I'd like to say that it's mange and that going bald is not a problem, but that is definitely an observation that you have made there, and a very true observation. Leopard don't go bald, fortunately for them, because I think they'd battle to find enough sun cream to keep their heads from going red like mine. But that to me does look like a bit of mange, to be honest. I'm going to call it and say it is mange. This time, he's in a poor enough condition for the mange mite to actually proliferate on him. And with those cubs that we have in the area full of mange, it's not unlikely that he would have contracted it from somewhere and he's now just trying to fight off an infection. Not bad at the moment. He looks like it's at a point where he's rubbing his head. You would have noticed, for those of you who have been following the show for a number of years, that leopard quite often rub their heads on things. They have a lot of sebaceous glands on their foreheads, which they then use to scent mark bushes with. And I think he's using that sort of as a scratching post. Yes, it is mange, I'm going to say. It's not necessarily going to end up as bad as what those cubs from the Styx Pride are. Courtney, I didn't quite catch your question there. I'm just going to ask Kirsty to reread it to me if you don't mind. Courtney, you asked me if the leopard spots are a pigmentation or is it fur? In other words, if we had to shave this leopard bald, would he have those spots on his skin or just the fur? That's a good question, Courtney. It's definitely a fur. It's definitely coloration of the fur. It's not a pigmentation. However, I've never seen a skinned leopard before or a shaved leopard before. So I don't actually know if the skin is a different color. I would imagine that it isn't. I mean, I can't imagine why it would be. But good question there, Courtney. You caught me there. I don't actually know. Perhaps one of you'd like to find out. I don't know if there's even references to that or even reference material to that. For that reason, I'm not going to get everyone to go and search for things right now. I think it's most likely that it's just a fur pattern and that the skin is not pigmented in those rosettes that you see there. And that the skin is probably a uniform color of some sort, probably a gray, similar to what we're seeing now on the back of his ears. That grayish skin color on the back of his ears. All right, and I think at this particular point in time, Brent is probably dying to give you an update on his birding safari in Cheetah Plains. So off you go. We'll wait here and catch up with you in a little bit.
So the last of the mist is burning off here on Cheetah Plains. You can just see it above the tree line. We've made our way down to the southern open area, and I'm looking for my mate Gnorman the Gnu, but he's proving to be scarce. And I was hoping to catch him in the mist, but the sun beat me to it. As you can see, little patches are blowing off. But what we're going to move to the middle of the open area, and then I think it's present time. Jamie is going to make her appearance before she's supposed to start working. Well done to James and Gretchen, that very difficult little bird, which we can definitely classify as an LBJ, a little brown job, was indeed a yellow-throated petronia. So the yellow-throated petronias, of course, in a lot of places have a wonderful little yellow spot on their throat. Our race that we get here in the Sabi Sands doesn't have a yellow throat. So very well done if you guys got that. It's not an easy bird to ID. But here we go. I'm just trying to think, this looks like a good spot. Just in case those cheetah appear. We've got a nice big view around. Aaron is wondering, are Jamie and Dave going to sing happy birthday? Is that... Wait 1 second, let me just... Binoculars. Where did I put my binoculars? Interesting. I don't know where I've put my binoculars. Ah, there they are. I think it's a piece of wood, but I'm hoping it's a piece of wood. It looked like a ground hornbill. But it is a ground hornbill piece of log. It does, yes. So now we're going to ask Jamie to come join me. Since I don't know how you managed to sneak these on without me seeing.
You were distracted by the coffee.
Yes, I was distracted by my Rwandan coffee. So there we go.
No, wait. So we have to.
Oh, wait, let's do this next. Look how awesome the paper is, though.
You see,
There's a
this
blue
is the most
darker, a
important
water
part,
back.
Because this was seriously.
Yes,
The wild dog was
look
right
at
on
that.
the edge.
Wild dogs.
And
Yay.
that took some serious rapping skill, and I'm not the greatest rapper.
Well, you're definitely much better than me. I'd probably just put it in newspaper. Or actually, what I normally do is just give it to you
Yes.
in what it came in.
Yeah.
Okay, so what should I open first?
It doesn't matter. There's no particular.
Okay, well, we'll leave the wild
There's
dog
more
for
presents, because
wild dog for a second. It's a book.
It is a book.
I love books.
It is a book.
So,
Might be right up your alley.
Jamie and I have are definitely the biggest book collection at WildEarth. And so we've probably got close on
We've got a
just
library.
here. We've got our own library of books, which Dave has actually offered to asked if he can. Oh, I don't want to mess up.
You don't.
Ooh! Wow. Latin for bird watchers. This is so exciting.
Because we're giant nerds.
Yes, we are. Oh, and I actually know who did these paintings.
Oh, there you go.
Well, that one in particular, that was by Thomas Baines,
Oh, there you go.
who's my favorite wildlife artist. He's not the most correct wildlife artist, but if you have a chance, look on Google. One of my favorite paintings of all time is Thomas Baines' Buffalo at Victoria Falls. So it's that very Victorian era stylized animals. So, okay, we're going to go for the first Latin name. What is it going to be? A vanga, which is a type of flycatcher that I've never heard of. This is, Madagascar. We've got to go to Madagascar so I can see a red-shouldered vanga, which is, this is quite a good one. Cali salicis. How would you say that? Calicallicus. Rufocarpus. Now, Rufo must mean to do with the red.
Yeah.
Listen how amazing this is. It was found by Phoebe Snetzinger, born Phoebe Bennett in 1921 in Lake Zurich, Illinois.
There's a very nice story about James Bond and who's it? Oh, Ian Fleming.
Ian Fleming,
He was,
yes.
of course, a very big bird watcher.
Yes, he
and
was.
Where the name James Bond came from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, tell it to us.
So Ian Fleming had a friend called James Bond, who was also a very keen, avid bird watcher. And I think Ian Fleming decided that James Bond was a fantastic name for a spy. and proceeded to write the books without James Bond, the real James Bond's permission, which was fine up until the point that, of course, because James Bond had a certain reputation with the ladies,
Yes.
so the real James Bond's wife had something to say to Ian Fleming. So I think there was something about it was fine as long as he could name a particularly ugly bird after Ian Fleming in return.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So
Funny
you
little story.
learn everything. Okay, no, I don't want to mess this one up because it's got the wild dog.
Okay.
So I'm going to... No, where are you going? You can't disappear.
I was going to jump on the back.
I want to get a good opener. Yes, there we go. That'll do. The trick. So we don't mess up the paper.
This is very neat.
This is probably the neatest I've ever opened anything in my life.
Very impressed.
Ooh. Ooh.
That's going to be complicated.
There we go. What is it? I don't know what this one is.
Something I wanted.
Well, see, that's the nice thing about being a couple. You can always buy something for someone else that you really want, and then you can actually justify. You are so clever. Okay, so now this is a very cool tool, and I'm actually going to I'm going to open it right away. Dave, do you know what this is?
No.
Is this the
There's three.
fisheye, macro, and wide angle? So, and as I said, it's perfect because I forgot the card for my big camera. So now this you take, and it turns your iPhone into a very smart thing. Aha. Let's see what Dave looks like. And Jamie, I don't know which one this is.
I don't know which one that is.
Oh, it's the fisheye. So let's get a photo. There we go. So you guys can have a look what it looks like. Oh, I probably shouldn't take photos into the sun. I do know better. But there we go. Very, very cool. How cool is that? Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Happy birthday.
Thank you. That is awesome. Okay. Well, on that note, we're going to carry on maneuvering. Oh, actually, 1 second. I think the Mala people have found a cheetah. But it is literally a pixel away. Or it will be a pixel. They have, unfortunately, as I said, it's probably about a kilometre away from there. The two male cheetah are there. So maybe they'll come visit Jamie on the sunset safari. So you can see that car in the distance. The cheetah are next to that car. Come on, guys, come this way. But it's getting a bit warm. So I don't know if they're going to move. Oh dear. Anyway, well, what that means is we know that cheetah are there, and it's unlikely they're going to come here this morning, but that's good for Jamie and Steph, who will be out this afternoon, so there's a very good possibility that the cheetah will be on cheetah plains. But what that also does give us the opportunity to go look in an area we don't often go on cheetah plains for a possible new leopard, which is Tundi's unnamed daughter, who is to the west of us. And it's a bit of a funny area, so let's go have a look there while we search for new leopards and other wonderful things on cheetah plains. Let's go back to Steph and the old man. Not Steph.
You know, that's the second person that's called this cat an old man in the last 20 seconds. And, yeah, I mean, is he that old? Is he not? What condition is this particular leopard in? He's got a little bit of mange on his face. His ears are a bit raggedy. He could do with a meal or 10, it looks like. He's still alert. I'm busy trying to contrast what I've seen before in leopard that are old. I think that he's still got a few more years left, to be quite honest with you. I think he'll probably start wandering a little bit wider. But there really isn't a big male in this area. Kajima is a newish male, a young male that is pushing him around. Tingana is obviously capitalizing on Mvula's deteriorating condition and is moving into Mvula's territory. And then you've got Anderson pushing, of course, Tingana up from the west and creating a little bit of pressure from that side. I think he'd still put up a bit of a fight. I'm not convinced he's that old. Dark Knight, you've asked, can old leopards be transferred to other reserves? The easy answer is yes, leopard are very transferable. They relocate incredibly well and they adapt to new environments incredibly well. Will it happen here in the Sabi Sands and the Kruger National Park? No. The reason for that is that this is considered an open system for all that it has a fence around it, but for all its massive surface area. And what we'll try and do is let nature be nature and let things happen as naturally as possible. And it's natural for leopard to get old and to make space for the younger cats. It's necessary for the younger cats to test themselves against the old hats, and they do this to gain experience and the necessary testing that leopard genetic needs. There needs to be hardship and trial, and it's what keeps the genes strong. You can't have weaklings mating with the females in this particular area. And I'm talking about an open system here. I'm talking about a system like the Kruger National Park, where its greatest treasure is its biodiversity and its gene pool, the strong, healthy, natural genes that it has, unsullied by anything. But yes, leopard, there's a couple of places in South Africa that rehabilitate leopard. Leopard that have been caught in snares or have become problem leopard in these fringe communities where leopard and people territories overlap. A leopard will quite often be caught before they are killed and then relocated to newer areas or areas where leopard have been eradicated in the past, either through bad farming practices or overhunting in some areas. And they relocate incredibly well. Have a look at those massive forearms that he has there. I mean, those shoulders and those forearms ending, they look almost stubby, but he's actually a fully grown cat, probably standing. They don't stand very tall, leopard. They probably stand about mid-thigh at the shoulder, but can be quite long from nose to tail. You get leopard, just like people, you get leopard of all different sizes and shapes. So D. Smith, you've just sent in a comment that Mvula was the first leopard that you ever saw on Safari Live, and I'm still glad that we're showing him to you, D. Smith, because it's obviously quite a memory jerker for you, which is nice. And then you've also said that James mentioned that Mvula's name means rain, and that's exactly true. Mvula is like rain, but I suppose it doesn't just necessarily mean. It's probably more to do with these African sudden, violent, massive, thunderous rain storms that are so typical of this particular area of the bush, instead of just the soft pitter-patter, which I can't imagine a leopard of such majesty being named after. Still just keeping his head on a swivel, quartering this particular dam. I'm not too sure what he's looking for. I mean, he would hunt, he's opportunistic, so if an impala had to come down here and want to get a sip of water, if there's anything left in these mud puddles, or some nyala come down to the edge here, he absolutely will hunt them. But it's also just likely that he's enjoying the view. Hayden, you've just asked me a question that I have absolutely no answer to, but I'm going to ask it. I'm going to share it in any case because I think it's quite a nice question. Firstly, you're asking this question all the way from California, which is impressive because it's pitch black there where you are right now. So good morning to you. And secondly, you've asked how many calories a day does a leopard need to eat to stay healthy? I don't know, to be honest. They need to probably eat between, let's say on average, lions eat between 2 and 5 kilograms of meat a day to stay healthy. So let's halve that to 1 to 3 kilograms. So 2 to 6 pounds of fresh protein per day. And I'm gathering that you're a health conscious person and that you count calories per day. So you know, for those of you who are health consciously minded, let's say 1 to 2 kilograms, so 2 to 6 pounds of fresh protein per day is what he would need to stay healthy or to have a healthy metabolism. Do they eat that? No. Leopard are sort of feast or famine creatures. They will catch whatever they can. Sometimes, if they're very lucky, they can catch more than one animal and cache animals in various trees around where they are and go from one carcass to another. But more often, they go from periods of extended starvation, so periods of a week or more without food, and then they will kill something big and lie for 3 or 4 days feeding on that and then move off again, sometimes catching something relatively soon, sometimes not. He looks quite skinny, this particular leopard. He looks like he hasn't eaten anything in a week or two. So I hope that answered your question, you know, and that you've found how many calories a piece of venison gives you. Obviously, venison out here having little to no fat on it, so calorie counts would be lower than a piece of fatty beef. He's just laying down there, completely oblivious to us. Just exactly the way I enjoy watching leopard. This leopard would be doing this whether we were here or not, and that is precisely the goal that we try and achieve here at WildEarth and with Safari Live. We try and touch the earth lightly. Not always possible, especially when you've got Brent Smith driving the car, but then you wouldn't see as many cats as you do without him bashing around the way he does. His pelvis is very skinny. I'm looking now where the base of his tail goes into his pelvis, and you can clearly see that hip joint sticking out there. He needs a meal. I'm just having a look now that we're a little bit closer at that damaged claw that he has there. I don't quite know. Yeah, it does look like he's damaged that claw there, which, you know, on a leopard that's this old, you don't get to this old being a leopard without carrying some scars. There's just no ways that he would have made it this far without broken bones and the rest that goes with it. And that claw could have been the result of an animal pulling incredibly hard against him or getting stuck on something. Old male leopard like this are very, very good at hunting large warthog. And it could have been a warthog that gave him that injury. Margaret, all the way from Kansas, you've actually just made an observation I was looking at as you spoke your question. You want to know if the tip of his tail is all there. It looks like he's missing it. Margaret, I just looked at it. Does look short from this particular angle, but I think he's got all his tail. How I'm knowing this is that the bottom of a leopard's tail is pure white, and I I can't really see exactly under his tail, but it doesn't look like the spots extend all the way to the end of the tail. I also don't see any baldness at the tip of the tail, which would be as a result of some scar tissue if it had it bitten off by something. So it's a guess, but I'm guessing that he's got his whole tail. It just looks bizarre from this particular angle. It looks like he's got his tail chopped off and is a bit shorter than it should be. Also, if you bring down the line of the tail down towards his toes, you'll see that it almost fits. The geometry there looks like it will stretch past his toes almost. That's another sign that that leopard's tail is intact. But yeah, good observation there, Margaret. You know, when I first saw Mvula with Scott Dyson, more than a year ago now, we were on foot, and this particular leopard allowed us to follow him on foot for probably, I don't know, half a mile or so, just every now and again looking over his shoulder to make sure that we knew he was there and that he knew we were there, and that, you know, he wasn't quite snarling at us, and he carried on with his day. He allowed us to walk with him. It was just one of the most amazing experiences that I've experienced in recent times, was this tolerance that this animal has for humans, and just a really, really special experience. But while he sleeps peacefully here on the side of Buffelshoek Dam, Brent is scouring Cheetah Plains, and I'm sure he has an update or two for you.
Well, here are some of the zebras that were in the mist earlier in the beautiful morning sunshine, and luckily they are heading towards the water, so I'm going to get there before them, and hopefully they're going to have a nice drink next to us. She almost looks like a little bachelor group. I'll have a closer look now. Very attentive as they approach the water, especially at this time of the year. Lion and leopard are hanging about where there's water, looking for an easy meal. Oh, that's just mud, so we'll go to the next one where there's water. It might take a while to get here. We'll give them a chance. This is where the elephants were in the mist this morning. I think they're going to make another visit to the water to play in the mud once it gets a bit hotter. I think we're going to have a nice hot day today. There we go, there's the water. Let's hope the zebra come here. So Virginia in Kentucky is wondering, when I go home, are the animals as relaxed as they are on the Sabi Sands? Most of them are, except for the leopards. The leopards are a little bit skittish, and we generally have to be quite careful when we drive around them, like we did with Kajima. After dark, they're okay, but during the day, oh, I heard an elephant scream somewhere. During the day, they are a bit skittish. And it is amazing that not even 10 years ago, leopards were shot on sight in those areas, and now it's a game reserve. We've got one young male who's about the same age as old Sindile, who's actually very relaxed all the time, but it's taken quite a bit of work to get him there. So, yes and no. So everything is as relaxed except for the leopards. Where are those zebras now? Looks like they might take their time in getting here. Oh, there is a dove having a drink, fiddling around in the mud. Hello. Oof, it's warming up really quickly now that the mist's gone. I think we're going to get over 30 degrees. What's that, about 88 Fahrenheit today? hear the clinking of a blacksmith lapwing. And I can hear a golden-breasted bunting calling in the distance. Now, Anna-Marie is saying, before long, the bee-eaters will be back. Now, Anna-Marie, I actually have an in on the bee-eaters, and I'll know almost to the day when they're going to arrive. Now, when I lived in Tanzania, I was part of the Tanzanian Bird Club, or the Tanzanian Rare Bird Society, and what that means is I get an email when the bee-eaters go across Tanzania, and it's about 9 days or 10 days if the bee-eaters are seen in southern Tanzania to when they arrive in South Africa. But it looks like the zebras are going to take their time, so we're going to keep moving. I did find something. I actually will do this quickly. So we saw honey badger tracks on the road, and then found a little hinged tortoise, a Speaks hinged tortoise that had been opened up. Now, I don't think the honey badgers did this. I think the honey badger was just picked it up and carried it for fun, so it could have been a young honey badger. Now, I can't see any obvious teeth marks. Oh, maybe. So I'm thinking this could have been a ground hornbill that has pecked its way through, opened up the carapace, and eaten the tortoise. Now, you can see where they get the hinged name from. It looks like a little hinge there, even though it's not a mobile hinge. But it does look, and it protects their bottom, although it doesn't look like all the armor plating in the world protected this poor tortoise from the attentions, I think, of a ground hornbill. It's very difficult to be 100%. So there are no teeth marks, but you can see crack along there and another crack here. So whatever it is, it's something with great pressure, and I think it's been a bang, a hit, rather than a crunch. So if it was a crunch, something like a hyena, I think we would see a lot more of the little armor platings coming off and a lot more cracks. So I think this is more of one or two solid strikes that's opened up this tortoise. But it is a beautiful shell, and we're going to add to my collection. And fortunately, normally when you find tortoise shells, they're quite smelly. This one's just a little smelly, but very, very pretty. It's so amazing. These are individual platings here. Look at the lines, how it's grown. So there's the oldest part, and it's grown outwards. Stunning. Well, the zebras aren't as impressed, so they're just looking at us at a distance. So they might be a little bit nervous to come drink while we're here. So let's let the poor zebras have a drink, because it is a drought after all. Okay. Well, exciting prospects with those two male cheetahs sitting on Mala Mala, and there's a very good chance that they're going to come across. There's not much water that side of Mala Mala, so the closest water to where they are is Cheetah Plains Pan. Might be worth having a check there on the Sunset Safari. Unfortunately, I won't be there. It could be Jamie or it could be Steph going to look for those cheetah. But it sounds like while we've been dallying about on Cheetah Plains, we did have that incredible elephant experience though this morning. Steph has had all the big cat luck. Sindile, Mvula, the Nkuhumas. And speaking of big cats and big cat luck, let's go back to the old man. And this time I mean Steph, not Mvula.
Says Brent, who's 1 year older than I am at the moment. Well, 1 year older than he was yesterday, basically. He hasn't done too much, I must be honest with you. He's just been lying here surveying his domain. Brian and I were busy chatting about where it would be better for him to actually find impala or not. I don't know, this particular pan, Brian was here 48 hours ago, and although it looks like it's dry, he said that there was this multitude of animals. There must have been a herd of elephant. What else was here, Brian? There was some nyala.
Yeah, some birds.
Some birds. So maybe Mvula knows something we don't, And then again, there's always just this likelihood that he's just come here for the view, that he's just enjoying watching the dam, same as we do from day to day, looking at some birds, watching the mist burn off and the clouds in the sky. Leopard are not on timetables. They don't have an agenda to fulfill. They don't have a checklist of things to do in a day. They just be. They just are. And, today he just is looking at this view. Sylvia in Oregon, you've just asked an interesting question in that it's nice to go over these things from time to time. It's a big stretch from this guy. You've asked who decides on individual leopard names, and it's a cause for great conversation, this in actual fact. So leopard are generally named when they turn 1 year old in the place where they are born by the ranger who found the cub in the first place, a year previously, obviously. The name is gifted to a leopard based on a couple of factors, based on their character or based on a significant event that happened in that leopard's life or a location that leopard likes to be in, a particular tree or a particular crossing or a particular rocky outcrop, etc., etc. If it's a female cub, that name sticks because female cubs do not leave their natal area. They'll set up territories adjacent to and usually within the same traverse area as their mothers and spend the rest of their lives in those areas. Male leopard disperse and they start leaving their natal areas or their natal ranges when they are around about 2 to 2.5 years old, sometimes stretching to about 3 years old. And they walk around then, dispersing from their natal range for about 2 to 3 years before they take over their own territory or squash open their own territory. At which point they are usually, not always, but usually far away from where they were born and therefore far away from the people that named them. So in other words, what will happen in this area is we all of a sudden will get a new male leopard, a new young male leopard in this area. And then based on a particular character trait or a particular location once again or a significant event, the rangers in that area will get together and name that leopard. It's not a name that is, the naming rights are not reserved and they're not necessarily carried over from his baby name, for lack of a better word, or his adolescent name, for lack of a better word. So Mvula was, let's just use him as an example, and once again, I'm just using him as an example. I don't know exactly where he was born or what his juvenile name was, but he would have been born somewhere else. He would have been named by those rangers, potentially, if he came from a commercially active place like the Sabi Sands. He then would have dispersed, and when he arrived here, he would have been named Mvula by the local rangers, by the local guys who were seeing him active at that particular point. And he would have been called Mvula, which means rain, for some event or some nature of his that I'm not too sure of exactly why he was named that. I'd have to ask Taxon and Aubrey for that. They probably were instrumental in giving him that name and were, they were present at that particular time. And that's basically how naming of leopards works, basically, in a nutshell. Have I forgotten anything? I don't think so, no. So I hope that answered your question. And like I said, it's a topic of much conversation, the naming of a leopard for a particular trait. Atypically, we've named Karula, which is a female leopard that is dominant in this area. We've named her cubs and Shadow's cub before they've reached a year old. And we've done that because they are such characters in our story. It took a little bit of negotiating with the local ranger teams around to actually settle on Karula's cub's name and Shadow's cub's names earlier than a year. We haven't named Shadow's cub. Excuse me, we haven't named Shadow's cub yet, but we have named Karula's cubs, Hosana and Shongile. And the local rangers have decided that those names will stick, and so everyone calls them Hosana and Shongile before they are a year old, which is quite nice of them. It was atypical, and it was a gift to us for that. Yeah, I think that's basically it. Have a look at that side profile there. For those of you who are interested in screen grabs, you're not going to get a much better screen grab of Mvula. And of course, there's always the chance that this is one of the last times that we see him in this particular state. So for those of you who keep records of these animals over the years and throughout the lives of these particular cats, it wouldn't be a bad idea to take a screenshot the next time you see him in profile, and also when he faces us again. And it'll be nice to add to your photo journal of him. I haven't seen him, how long now, Brian? I haven't personally seen Mvula for more than 6 or 7 months, maybe even longer than that.
Quite a few months.
Yeah, many months. And it might be many months again before we see him, if we ever see him again. Excuse me for 1 second while I just do the administration that is necessary when you're the only vehicle in a sighting. So I'm quickly going to be speaking on the radio. The station's a single male leopard, still static at Buffelshoek Dam, 1 vehicle in this particular sighting and 1 on approach. Alright, and that was my administration, sort of done. Copy that. So Sean, all the way in Oregon, wants to know why he has much bigger front paws than back. And that's because he catches his food with those front paws, and they are slightly more developed. They are much bigger, probably 20% bigger than his back paws, and also more round. And that's because he can splay those toes open, or those fingers open. The back paws are used to launch himself off the ground in a charge at some prey, and then the front paws are used to catch and hold the prey down, and also to maneuver it, to manipulate it into a position where a killing bite can be delivered. Huge male leopard like this that have that very thick neck and very thickly muscled skull, or can deliver a bite force that can crush the skull of most animals, crush the next vertebra, and also bite into, in the case of warthog, bite through the chest cavity and into the heart with an ease that will astound you, to be honest with you. I don't even want to know what the bite force of these animals is, but it's incredible. And yeah, it's all that sort of make him this efficient killer that he is. And they are probably one of the best killers out here in terms of effort for reward. There are animals out here that have a higher success rate than leopard, and cheetah and wild dog have higher success rates than what leopard do. But for the conservation of energy, I do not think that there's an animal that has a large predator at least anyway, that has a higher conservation of energy. Yeah. If you just excuse me, this sighting is generating a lot of interest. I'm going to have to just go onto the radio one more time. Just bear with me, please. All right, and I think while I just manage the sighting, I think to send you over to Brent. It'll be infinitely better than listening to me warble on the radio. See you in a bit.
Well, we are still on Cheetah Plains. We're having a look through the center of Cheetah Plains at the moment, hoping for a big cat to appear. Now, the sticks are still in Nkoro. Those 2 male cheetah are still in Maramala. So, by law of averages, there has to be a big cat here somewhere. If there are big cats to the right and big cats to the left, why can't there be big cats in the middle? So we're going to check the little water hole in front of the Cheetah Plains Lodge. So probably one of the areas we check the least. we often just scoot through and move towards the open areas. Thomas in Pennsylvania. Believe it or not, Thomas, I nearly ended up living in Pennsylvania for a while. So that's a long story for another day. And Thomas is wondering if other guides in the greater Kruger area let us know if there are any male lion coalitions on their way towards us. In Kruger itself, no, because there's no one there. But if they're coming from the Manyeleti or they're coming from can you believe? I mean, we're so sophisticated these days. There's a WhatsApp group for big cat movements in the Sabi Sands that we're all part of. So we just check our phones. And the year I started in the Sabi Sands, you used to have to bump into someone on the boundary for those updates, or use. But of course, no, it wasn't a telegraph. I'm not that old, although I'm feeling old. No, I'm only joking. I was going to make a very crude joke, but I decided to probably. Wow! David's going to land. Beautiful. Not a bird we see too often. Did you see it land? You've got it in the middle of the frame. Look at that. A male double-banded sandgrouse. Now, these birds are so awesome. They live in quite often very arid areas, and they nest in very arid areas. And they actually fly to water holes, collect water in their feathers, and fly back to where their nest is and give the chicks a drink from water droplets collected in their breast feathers. Now, we only get one sandgrass species here, and in other parts of Africa, you've got multiple sandgrass species, and they all drink and they all take water back to their chicks. Now, can you imagine if there's a flock of 5,000 Birchill sandgrass and there's a flock of 2,000 double-banded? They can't all drink at the same time. So they have time sharing around any little bit of water. And how they do that is they drink at different times of the day. So double-banded sandgrass drinks before dawn, or goes to water and collects water and drinks before dawn. So before the sun pops up, that's double-banded sandgrass. That's their time for drinking. Now, from about now at 11 o'clock is chill sandgrass drinking. And then in the late afternoon, it is Namakwa sandgrass drinking time. And in the middle of the night, it's the yellow-throated sandgrasses drinking time. Drink at different times, and they're all utilized quite often in places like Botswana, the exact same water hole. But to stop congestion, they all drink at different times. And I find that incredibly fascinating. So, of course, they're different species, but they all belong to the same family. And unfortunately, today, nothing. Quite often we find a little bushbuck sneaking through for a drink. So, unfortunately, nothing here today. So, we're going to start making our way back towards Juma Private Game Reserve. And I'm hoping for a nice big fry-up for breakfast. I think I can smell them from here already. So while we start moving back towards Juma, let's go and see how Stef's doing.
I'm doing fine, thanks. So we've had to obviously leave Mvula lying on the banks of Buffelshoek Dam, and because so many people want to come and have a look at him. He's literally hasn't been seen in these areas in months, and there's a bunch of people that are saying they want to really come and see what he looks like and how's he doing and what his condition is in. And because we only allow a limited amount of people around any particular sighting, and that's to reduce stress on these animals and keep them friendly with the cars, we made some space. We'd spent enough time with him, and I think it was just nice to give some other people a chance to see him and interact with him and spend some time with him. Wow, there's a lot of hyena and leopard tracks around. I wonder if he hasn't got a kill somewhere. No, his belly is not full enough for him to have a kill somewhere. And this is just, I think, the normal hyena up and down on the road over here and on the game path that we just passed over there. If he had killed something, he'd have a much fuller belly, and he may have walked to Buffelshoek Dam to have a drink of water if he was full, but we would have seen some evidence of him with a fuller belly. Perhaps he did kill something and didn't even get a chance to eat it before the hyena stole it from him, which is also a possibility. Lots of hyena tracks on the floor here. The whole clan has been running up and down. Sandy in Canada, good evening to you, or good morning from our side, good evening to you. You've asked all the way from Canada, if one of the 4 of our medically important spiders here had to bite Mvula, will it have the same effect on him? Good question there, Sandy, and I'm going to answer it as best as I can. The spiders that have a cytotoxic venom, in other words, the spiders that have a cell-destroying venom, would absolutely have an effect on him. And they include the 6-eyed desert crab spider, which by volume is the most toxic spider we have here. It includes the sac spider, which we find here, and the violin spider, which we find out here. They have cytotoxic venom. They will cause necrosis and ulceration at the bite site. They will absolutely affect him. The one that I'm not too sure of is the black widow or black button spider or recluse spider. They have a neurotoxic venom which affects heartbeat and respiration. Quite often with spider venoms, they're very keyed to a specific target prey, and although they have effects in humans, they're still keyed at a particular prey source. And I'm not sure if black widow venom would affect leopard the same way that it affects people. In other words, spreading through the lymphatic system, creating intense pain in the lymph nodes, and then having an effect on your respiration and your ability for your body to beat your heart, basically. I'd like to believe, because a leopard is a mammal, that it probably would have a similar effect, perhaps not as devastating, maybe more so, but it may also have absolutely no effect whatsoever on a leopard, because they're just different. They're different animals. So while I didn't really answer your question, I hope I shed some more light on potentially making your own conclusion from that bit of information. Ah, what a lovely day. This mist is now burnt off, leaving a scattering of clouds above us. Ali, good morning, Ali. You've asked what my favorite bug or insect is. I don't really have a favorite, to be honest. I just enjoy all of the insects. I enjoy all of the bugs. To me, they're just fascinating. The reason why I like insects at the moment is because in my mind I blow them up to be as big as lion or big as leopard, and I can only just imagine what they would be like. They're just so much more terrifying and so much more adept at hunting their particular prey species. They're just so much more bizarrely shaped and functioned and provisioned and resourced. For me, that it blows my mind at the variation and the diversity of insects that we have out here. So I don't really have a favorite. Obviously, the ones that are more bizarrely shaped, have armaments that defy imagination, or very, very beautifully colored, capture my immediate interest, but I like them all, to be quite honest with you. I mean, for those of you who are joining us this morning, that little minute spider that was on the dashboard this morning, holding up his leg in the mist, catching some water on the bristles on his leg, and then licking off or eating off that water, was just fascinating for me. Yeah, it's similar to me holding up my arm and then licking the dew off of the hair on my arm to gather moisture. Just, it's nice. I feel like I'm rambling. All right, we're going down Central now. It'll give us hopefully a nice view of these clouds. Now, as I was mentioning with a mist is actually a cloud that forms on the ground and quite often gets burnt off. But you can see there in the distance, the mist is still hugging close to the ground. And I must be honest, although the clouds above us look to be a couple of 100 yards or so off the ground, it looks like something's happening. There's definitely a front. And with Spring Day happening for us tomorrow on the 1st of September, it's not uncommon for us to get rain around Spring Day, to be honest, with these cold fronts that come in. But we're also having a change of weather systems. The low pressure and the high pressure systems that are prevalent over us during a winter or a summer, or during a dry and a wet period, are now shifting. And as they're shifting, they're bringing in different elements here. They're bringing in moisture from the Indian Ocean, and that creates a change in the available moisture in the air. Cold fronts are still busy sweeping up from Antarctica across the Cape and up into the country and boiling over the escarpment. And so we end up in this mush of weather here as the low pressure that is dominant in summer starts to reassert itself here. And the high pressure that's dominant in winter starts to move out over the Indian Ocean. And things change a little bit here. It's quite exciting. Nice time of the year. We're expecting some wind. August has been a blustery month for us, not the common high winds that we usually have. September usually signifies a rain or two and this mistiness that comes in. And then we have our first large rains, or expecting our first large rains, at least anyway, in October. Holding thumbs that the drought is broken somewhere around the 15th or 10th, excuse me, for James and I to win our bet. Brian's just shaking his head at the moment going, yeah, it's going to happen on the 20th of September, I think is what he's predicted the drought to break. But who knows what the actual answer to that is. Let's see if we're lucky enough to share this yellow-billed hornbill's having a bit of a dance with the mate. Let's see if they do it now for us. Not yellow-billed, excuse me, red-billed hornbill. He's having a groom, a morning groom. Birds' feathers, of course, vitally important to their ability to stay warm and to fly and to function. And so this isn't preening, but it is grooming. Preening is what a duck does when it takes oil from a gland at the base of its tail and it oils its feathers. Or I think penguin do as well. Yes. What this bird is doing is just relieving itch and getting rid of feathers that are busy molting. How a bird molts is it sheds a feather, well, its primary feathers at least anyway, the feathers that it uses for flying are shed one feather at a time, starting at the tip of one wing and moving around the bird, ending at the tip of that wing again. And they'll do it about once a year, I think as my memory serves me correctly, they molt about once a year. What he's doing now is he's just busy using that long red bill of his to groom through his secondary feathers, which are the feathers that cover his belly and under his wings, the ones that keep him warm. And they can shed numerous of these. And what he's busy doing there now is he's just busy tugging at his feathers, realigning them. The feather filaments themselves are made up of a bunch of hooks and rings similar to Velcro. And they need to be combed to stay hooked in with one another, which provides a waterproof layer and also a weather barrier, a keen weather barrier. Birds' feathers are some of the most insulating substances per volume on Earth. And one of the reasons why goose or duck down duvets and comforters and pillows are so highly prized. Sharing the morning with his red-billed hornbill. You can see that he's facing his back to the sun and opening up his wings, which is allowing us to see that black under the black feathers on his back. And he's deliberately doing that. He's deliberately facing the sun. That will be absorbing heat, and he's heating up his core. With the mist that was rolling in yesterday and with a lack of vegetation on these trees, I have no doubt that this particular bird was feeling pretty exposed last night. And with the lack of decent food around, I'll say that he got pretty cold last night. So wet and cold and hungry, and now he's just grooming himself, realigning his feathers after being sodden last night in the mist, and then warming up with that black patch on his back in the sun. That's nice. Have a look at that. Wings relaxed, black patch open, sun tanning. Yes. All right, Brent Leo Smith is back on Djuma and is now close to the Mulwati, wanting to share that beautiful drainage line with you. So off you go, and see you in a bit.
So we are in the Mulwati. We are hoping Queen Karula might make an appearance, but the real reason we're here is we're in search of the elusive white-throated robin. Now, it has avoided us many, many times over the last 10 days that we've been searching. We've heard them, but we haven't seen them. And maybe Dave is my lucky charm. He's the only person I've managed to put the white-throated robin on camera with before, and it was just around the corner. Now, oh, kingfisher. To the left. There we go. On that big, there we go. A little bit up. There he is. Hello, little striped kingfisher. Now, in the Mulwati, where there's steep banks, the kingfishers will nest. So, always a good spot to look for them. Oh, he's off. And so shall we be. Now, I'm also hoping that we're going to see my favourite antelope while we cruise the Mulwati. And there's a very good chance that they're going to be near the fruiting jackalberry. And it is, of course, the bushbuck. Beautiful little antelope with a backbone of steel. Male bushbuck are actually quite ferocious creatures for a little guy. And they have been recorded fending off lion and leopard as well. Oh, hello. What tracks do we have here? No, it's not Karula, unfortunately. The last time we found Karula's tracks, I was like, oh, these look quite fresh. Oh, there's a cub track. And we came around the corner, I was like, oh, leopard cub. So that could happen. You never know. We are live. But we are heading into white-throated robin country now. This little corner here is the spot where we managed to get it on camera before. Like most robins, they are what you call a skulking species. So they flick about in the little thickets, and that makes them very difficult to get on camera. So it's always a lovely challenge to try and get a white... Sorry about that. Okay, so the jackalberry we saw the white-throated robin in last time was right here. And coming up on this corner there. And I can't hear him at the moment, and that's the best way to find Natal Franklin scurrying across in front of us. Hi, Mia. Mia's 4 years old, and she says, happy birthday, Brent. Thank you for the very special message, Mia. So happy you got to share my birthday drive with me. Okay. No white-throated robins, but a snoozing Nyala chewing the cud. So we're going to switch off and listen while we look at that Nyala to see if the white-throated robin starts calling. Here, a great go-away bird, chin spot batis. Oh, I can hear the robin. He's up ahead. Hopefully our luck is about to change with the white-throated robin. Sounds like he's around some big timbuti trees and jackalberries up ahead. Here we go, somewhere in this little thicket here. It sounds like where he was. Now, can we find the skulker? There. You can hear him. Okay. Come on. Oh, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. 4 minutes to find a white-throated robin. I think it's probably less than 4 minutes now. Okay. Listen to that. There's a massive bird party here. He's part of it. Three minutes. One calling there, one calling there. Which one do we go for? We go for this one. Oh no. It's this. There's two robins there. Actually, there's also a white-browed scrub robin. Let's go back to it. They're in that little thicket there. Gone behind us. Okay, there's the white-browed scrub robin. See him, Dad?
Yeah, thanks, Brandon.
No, out. Oh, he's moved now. Right, there we go. He's just. Oh, he's gone. So that's a white-browed scrub robin. And I can't hear the white-throated now. I can only hear. Okay, Dave. A little bit to the left. Okay, that bush there. Top. In that thicket there, it's flitting around. But there it is. White. That's the white-browed scrub robin, though. Look at him doing his display. The flicking tail. It's not the white-throated, but it is a robin. And it is doing that incredible display they do while they're calling. Watch how that tail flicks. Oh, off it goes. We've got... Oh dear, I can't hear the white-throated. I can only hear the white-browed now. But there it is on top. And so zoom and to the right. Wait. A little bit more to the right. And up a bit, just come out a bit. Where is he? Oh, sorry, I'm getting confused. To the left. There we go. And up. I can see him with my eyes. I can't see him in the camera. But anyway, it is the white-browed scrub robin. The white-throated robin has avoided us, and it's the last 20 seconds of drive. And, well, I'm going to have to come back from leave to find a white-throated robin. Hopefully, James, or Steph can do it for me while I'm on leave. But thanks for joining me on my birthday drive. And from Steph, myself, and everyone else, bye!